Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here in ITAM again and to receive such a very warm welcome. Very nice indeed. This afternoon I thought I would tell you a little bit about what I've spent so much of my career on, which is the theory of mechanism design. I will first try to give you a very short definition, a few-minute definition, but definitions are never really adequate. So the best way of understanding what mechanism design is all about, I feel, is to see it actually used. So I will go through a few examples, 3 examples, which I hope will illustrate what the theory is trying to do and how it tries to accomplish its goals. So, first of all, the one-sentence definition. In my view, mechanism design theory is the engineering part of economics. So, as I'm sure you know, much of economic theory concentrates on taking existing economic institutions and trying to predict or explain the outcomes that those institutions give rise to. This is what is called the positive or predictive part of economics, and I would say it constitutes maybe 90% of what most economists do. But I'm actually interested in the part of economics which is just the opposite. That is, in mechanism design, we do things the other way around. We start with the outcomes. We start with outcomes that we would like to have. Those are our goals. And then we ask what kinds of, well, first of all, whether one could construct institutions, build institutions or mechanisms that would achieve those goals. And if the answer is yes, then we want to know what form those institutions take. What would the institutions look like? And this is the normative or prescriptive part of economics. It's a part of welfare economics. Okay, well, that's a rather abstract way of telling you what mechanism design is all about. Perhaps it doesn't say very much. So without further ado, why don't I go to an example? It's perhaps an example that you will find too simple, but don't worry, there are some more complicated examples after that. But let's start with a simple example. And it's an example which may be familiar to you from your own home experience. It's one that takes place in many homes around the world. Let's imagine that there's a parent, a mother, who has a cake that she wants to divide between her 2 children, Alice and Bob. And her goal is to make sure that each child is happy with the piece that he or she gets. And again, if you've had this experience in your own home, you know it's very important that each child be happy. It makes your life miserable if one child is upset. So what has to be the case is that Bob should think that he's got at least half the cake, and Alice should think that she's got at least half the cake. And if this goal is accomplished, we say that we have a fair division. So that's the goal. And the question is how to achieve this goal. Well, if it so happens that the mother knows that she views the cake the same way that the children do, then there's a very simple resolution to the problem. She can take a knife and cut the cake exactly equally from her point of view and give each kid a piece. And she knows that since she thinks that the cake has been cut equally, the children will agree, and that will be the end of the story. Each will have half the cake. The problem is, what if the children don't see the cake the same way? And again, from personal experience, I can say the children never see the cake the same way as their parents. So it's entirely possible that the mother will think that she's cut the cake equally, but Bob will think that his piece is smaller than Alice's. And that's no good at all. So here's the problem.